Here's something black people have known for a couple of 100 years. Niggas are crazy. Now, black people don't like to talk about crazy niggas in public because white people may be listening, but I'm afraid the secret might be out.
Former singer Whitney Houston appeared in court alongside husband Bobby Brown, who's facing battery charges for allegedly beating his once respectable wife.
Hell to the no, Bobby, don't hit me. See, we have this TV show, and it's our TV show, and I was trying to get a little bit more time on it. And
it's my show, bitch!
You know, I think they're on drugs. Let's see what's on BET. Oh, lordy lord. Oh, shake it to the right. Shake it. You boys cover your eyes. Shake. Got to leave something to the imagination. That's just showing too much booty.
And on our talking points this evening, it seems like the hip-hop community is trading in their gold chains for gold showers. Hip-hop singer R. Kelly is on trial again this week for sharing some of his liquid bling with yet another underage girl. Some advice for Mr. Kelly. Next time, use a golden shower curtain and keep your golden showers to yourself.
What's wrong with a man giving away a golden shower? Sounds like a nice gift to me. What? Shoot, I wish somebody gave me a golden shower. 1, I like gold. 2, I like showers. Put it together. Hey, that sounds like the life.
If you're good, Santa Claus might give you a golden shower for Christmas.
Christmas? My man Santa.
And controversial R&B superstar R. Kelly will be heading into court tomorrow for the first day of his latest highly anticipated trial for child pornography and lewd acts with a local minor.
Granddad, can you take us into the city tomorrow to watch the R. Kelly trial?
Hell no. But you can walk.
It's 40 miles.
All the money I spent on them damn Nikes? You better just do it.
Assistant District Attorney Thomas Dubois is leading the prosecution of Kelly and has a mountain of evidence against the famous R&B performer, including a videotape allegedly showing Kelly urinating on a 14-year-old girl, which is widely available for download at www.freetopee.com.
I'm gonna go, check my email. Yeah.
Get your little short ass back here.
The trial of Robert Kelly, the second episode of its first season, did more than parody a scandal. It interrogated a nation's willingness to look the other way. The Boondocks, though animated, the show was never childish. With a tone both hilarious and confrontational, it delivered searing social commentary with the force of a political editorial. The show itself had always courted controversy. Originally, a syndicated comic strip from 1999 to 2006, then a cult animated series airing on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim block from 2005 to 2014, it regularly took aim at racism, celebrity worship, government hypocrisy, and the contradictions within Black America itself. But the trial of Robert Kelly, which aired on November 13, 2005, was something different. Satirizing the real-life allegations against R&B superstar R. Kelly, the episode dared to go beyond gossip. It placed the audience in a moral courtroom of its own, not just judging a man, but judging a community's response to him. In this documentary, we revisit that provocative episode not only to understand its message, but to reflect on what it reveals about loyalty, identity, and the disturbing ease with which culture can excuse criminality when it comes wrapped in celebrity. At its heart, the trial of Robert Kelly is not simply about one man's alleged crimes. It's about the tension between truth and entertainment, between justice and racial solidarity, and how laughter can sometimes deliver the hardest truths. By 2005, R. Kelly stood at the peak of fame and the edge of disgrace. His voice had become an unmistakable part of Black cultural soundscapes, echoing from church pews, blasting from car radios at summer cookouts, woven into the soundtrack of graduations and family reunions. He wasn't just an entertainer. To many, he was a symbol of triumph, a South Side Chicago native who turned struggle into superstardom. But behind the music, a darker reality loomed. Allegations of sexual abuse and predatory behavior had followed Kelly for years. From his secret marriage to 15-year-old Aaliyah in 1994 to the now infamous videotape involving a minor in the early 2000s, his public life was shadowed by scandal. As one critic put it, the accusations followed closely behind R. Kelly throughout his 25-plus-year career. Like a storm, he always outran but never quite escaped, and yet a powerful tension persisted. Even as the evidence mounted, so did the loyalty. Kelly's fans, particularly in segments of the black community, rallied around him, not just as a musician, but as a martyr. Some viewed the criticism as a racist attack, a coordinated effort by America to tear down a successful black man. In one hauntingly telling line cited in commentary, a fan claimed America urinated on R. Kelly, twisting the narrative to cast him as victim rather than perpetrator. That impulse to protect, to excuse, to deny is at the heart of the trial of Robert Kelly. The Boondocks doesn't present the trial as a legal drama, it stages it as a cultural reckoning. Huey Freeman, ever the radical observer, and Riley, the product of hip-hop consumerism, sit in the courtroom not merely as characters, but as avatars of a wider generational and ideological divide. One half of the community, led by Huey, demands accountability. The other half, louder and more emotionally charged, sees Kelly not only as innocent, but as untouchable. And here is where Magruder's satire becomes scathing. As scholars and analysts have observed, the episode adopts a tone that is, quote, damning and cynical. The evidence in the fictionalized trial is clear, even absurdly undeniable, and yet the courtroom audience cheers Kelly's acquittal like it's a concert encore.
In 2019, R. Kelly was arrested on federal sex crime charges.
I'm ready to just tell my truth.
He faces 2 federal and 2 state trials.
He didn't do it alone. There was an enterprise.
Bodyguard, entourage, assistants.
They were sick just like him.
Kelly was charged with a criminal enterprise under the RICO statutes, the way they get the Gambinos and the Genoveses.
I have to walk into that courtroom. I don't want to see his face.
I wanted to call the police, but I was terrified.
We were not just doing a protest. We were shifting the paradigm.
Everyone in R. Kelly's operation needs to go to jail. Everyone.
This is something unprecedented in the history of popular music, with, I believe, hundreds of victims. I now know 69.
For the first time, we're hearing of a John Doe.
Prosecutors say Kelly sexually abused teenage boys.
It was a bringing together of the collective power of the voices.
We had to talk to lots of women who weren't willing to come on camera.
You know, this goes back to Aaliyah.
Aaliyah's name was said for the first time in a criminal court.
And of course, she's not alive to tell her own story.
This is how much fan I am of Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly.
I was the first girl, and nobody believed me.
His entourage wanted these women's allegations to be snubbed. I said, well, don't you have my daughter? And she said, yes.
People never know what she is.
The testimony is just horrifying to read.
It is probably the most horrific audio and video that I've ever heard in my life.
It felt evil.
The punishment would be to smear her own excrement on herself, to eat it.
Here it is, I'm finna face the man that violated my daughter.
He's a predator, and a predator need to be put down.
Free R. Kelly. Free the king of R&B.
He's looking at my daughter with the weirdest looks.
For 30 years.
I've never seen somebody beat trial twice.
He shook me, he pushed me down the stairs. I was scared out of my mind.
I can only imagine the trauma that that woman has, and then coming out and everyone knowing who she is.
The little piece of me that wanted him to get some help, it just went out the window.
Kelly will go down in the history of popular music as the worst criminal predator ever.
The Boondocks holds no punches in portraying the crowd's complicity. Years later, after the release of Surviving R. Kelly in 2019, a docuseries that brought first-hand testimony of years of abuse into the mainstream social media lit up with users calling Aaron Magruder a prophet. Suddenly, the satire didn't seem exaggerated. It seemed like prediction. What the episode captured and what the real-life story confirmed was how hero worship can become a shield for predators. How the defense of our icons too often comes at the expense of our most vulnerable, especially black women. As critic Mackenzie Clark notes, this kind of blind loyalty helps silence and disregard black women and reveals a cruel contradiction, that the same culture that celebrates resilience can also be complicit in erasing the pain of those it claims to protect, and that more than anything, is what the Boondocks put on trial. Not just R. Kelly, but us. The episode opens not in a courtroom, but in a living room, the Freeman home where satire begins in the ordinary. Granddad flips on the TV, and Bill O'Reilly blares across the screen, breathlessly covering R. Kelly's latest legal trouble. The tone is sensational, the focus lurid. A videotape of Kelly urinating on a 14-year-old girl. The case has the nation's attention, but what the Boondocks reveals is how that attention quickly warps into entertainment. On the way to the courthouse, Riley Freeman marches with a homemade Free R. Kelly sign, swaggering with misguided confidence. He's barely 8 years old, but already echoing the distorted rhetoric of the grown-up world around him. When he argues with Assistant District Attorney Tom Dubois, a family friend, Riley offers a surreal defense of Kelly, even threatening to piss on Tom's cat if the trial doesn't go his way. Huey, always the grounded observer, offers the perfect punchline. You just got beat by an 8-year-old, and so the stage is set, not just for a trial, but for a cultural war.
R. Kelly pissed on his victim. I know, it was rough. But I mean, again, I can't even judge R. Kelly. First of all, we don't know if these allegations are true or not, and even if they are true, if you want to know how I feel about it honestly, if a man cannot pee on his fans, I don't want to be in show business anymore because, well, that's why I got in the game, baby. I got dreams too. You guys are confusing the issue. While you guys are busy worrying about if R. Kelly even peed on this girl or not, you're not asking yourself the real question that America needs to decide once and for all. And that question is, how old is 15 really? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'm not saying that a person is as smart as they're going to be at 15. That's not what I'm saying, man. But I am saying 15 to me is old enough to decide whether or not you want to be pissed on. I mean, that's me. If you can't make a decision like that by the time you're 15, then just give up, motherfucker, because life is way harder than that. I make tougher decisions all the time. If you don't want to get pissed on, just get the fuck out of the way. It's not even a decision. If I stop peeing on the front row, they're not going to have to calculate and think, oh, how do I feel about this? Am I okay with it? They just move. You can do that at 15. I could have. I've been 15. When I was 15, I was doing stand-up in nightclubs. I smoked reefer from time to time. Friends were selling crack. I was trying to finger people. I knew what was happening around me to some degree. Getting pissed on was the least of my worries at 15. Trust me. But it keeps coming up. There's a lot of confusion around that age. Anytime 15 comes up, people freak out. Like when that girl, Elizabeth Smart, got kidnapped. Right? Remember in Utah last year, 15-year-old girl Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped, and then they finally found her, and the whole country was relieved. And I was the only one saying, damn, she wasn't that smart after all. Now, because she got kidnapped, that could happen to anybody. I'm not knocking her for that. I'm just saying, if you kidnapped me when I was 15, you got to take me further than 8 miles away from my house, man. God damn. Can't hold me prisoner around shit I recognize. I'll break away. I'll break away. Fuck off me, nigga. That's my bus stop. I know where I'm at. I'm going home. She was missing for 6 months, 8 miles away from my house. That's 2 exits, man. That's nothing. And while she was missing, during this half a year that this girl is missing, there's a 7-year-old black girl gets kidnapped in Philadelphia. Nobody knows her name. They might have talked about it 2 or 3 times on the news, but she should have been the top story because she chewed through the ropes and had both of these motherfuckers in jail in 45 minutes flat. 7 years old. I'm not making this up. These 2 crackheads kidnapped her and took her back to the crack house and tied her up. And then they left her. The crackheads, they got to make moves. Crack, smoke, chocolate to eat. These motherfuckers made moves. It was out. But as soon as they left, this little girl got the nib on. She was kidnapped at 4 o'clock and at home watching herself on the news at 5:30. That shit is crazy. That's a news story. That is a news story. Now, meanwhile, in Utah, 15-year-old Elizabeth Smart's captors left her alone too. And they didn't even tie her up because they're hillbillies. They just bounced. Don't try to escape, bitch, or we'll kill you. Be right back. They leave. And she's 15 sitting in the house by herself. how am I gonna get out of this? Come on, Elizabeth, think. Think, Elizabeth, how am I gonna get out of here? Why don't you just open the fucking door and go outside? Have you thought about that? Do you have a quarter? Do you know your phone number? You're 15, bitch, run. Stop thinking and stop making moves. I know I sound mean, and I know what the people are thinking when I'm saying this. Dave, she is only 15. All right, but that's the discrepancy, because when you talk about a little girl like Elizabeth Smart, then the country feels like 15 is so young and so innocent. On the flip side, here comes 15 again. Now we're talking about a 15-year-old black kid in Florida. This black kid accidentally killed his neighbor when he's practicing wrestling moves that he saw on TV. Now, was he a kid? No. They gave him life. They always try our 15-year-olds as adults. The snigger knew what he was doing. He's a goddamn pile driver. If this kid gets on the ropes, there's no stopping him. You'd have to send the Rock to arrest him. And they gave a 15-year-old boy life in jail. If you think that it's okay to give him life in jail, then it should be legal to pee on him. That's all I'm saying. You got to make up your mind across the board how old 15 actually is. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody comes in here and puts a gun in my head and says, Chappelle, you got a choice to make. You're either going to jail for a month or we'll let you go, but you got to let R. Kelly pee on you. I'm not hesitating. Bring in R. Kelly and tell him to stay away from my ass. I'd rather get pissed on the outside than fucking the butt on the inside, son. I can't go to jail with some smooth Botox balls and think everything's gonna be all right. It's not that kind of place. Take my chance with that piss. Piss will wash off with a 10-minute shower, I'm certain of it. There's piss coming right out. What can I do? They're gonna put me in jail.
Hey, boys! Hey there, Huey. Riley. I couldn't help but notice your sign, and I hope you boys aren't too upset about me having to prosecute Mr. Kelly.
Hey, man, you do what you gotta do.
Why R. Kelly, huh? What did R. Kelly do to you?
He's accused of relieving himself on an underage girl on tape, which is against the law.
Okay. But let's examine this whole peeing thing. So I can pee in the toilet, and it's okay. But if I pee on a person, it's like not okay?
Well, yeah.
Well, what if I'm peeing and Huey's in the bathroom and I accidentally pee on Huey? Should I go to jail?
What the hell would I be doing in the bathroom while you're in the bathroom?
Hold up. Remember when we used to sleep in the same bed when we was littler? From time to time, I'd have a little accident.
You still do.
Shut up! So, Mr. Dubois, Mr. I wanna lock niggas up for peeing. What's the statute of limitations on bedwetting? Why not prosecute me and R. Kelly at the same time, huh?
Now, Riley, no one's going to prosecute you for bedwetting.
And you shouldn't. It's a natural bodily function, and now every nigga in the world gonna be scared to pee. I may never pee again.
Riley, it was a little girl.
Oh, I seen that girl. She ain't little. I'm little.
Yes.
Gary Coleman's little.
Yes.
Mini-Me is little.
Very.
And to the best of my knowledge, we all managed to avoid getting peed on so far.
But what about the victim?
Oh, yes, the victim. At what point does personal responsibility become a factor in this equation?
I don't think that...
I see piss coming, I move. She saw piss coming, she stayed.
Yeah, she did,
And why should I have to miss out on the next R. Kelly album just for that?
Man, you just got beat by an 8-year-old.
And if R. Kelly goes to jail, I'll piss on your cat.
Outside the courthouse, 2 protests take place. One is sober and dignified, protesters with tidy signs pleading, "Stop exploiting a minor." The other is a full-blown tailgate party, a barbecue-slathered, R&B-fueled celebration of celebrity, complete with misspelled posters like "We love you, R. Kelly," and "Not guilty." A towering woman, grinning and glazed with barbecue sauce, tells a reporter why she believes Kelly's innocent. "'Cause he good. It's absurd, but it's not exaggerated." Huey looks on in disbelief. This isn't a trial, it's a circus, and no one's interested in justice when there's music and meat on the grill. Then comes the moment of spectacle. A stretch Hummer pulls up. The fans erupt. It's Kelly himself, arriving not as a defendant, but as a conquering hero. The satire here cuts deep. The accused, lionized by his fans, is shielded by his fame.
I tell you, it sure is beautiful out here. White folks sure know how to make some nice foliage.
Oh, come on, Ruckus. You can't give the white man credit for the trees.
Where them two little nappy-headed grandkids of yours?
They went into the city to watch the trial of that singer.
Oh, right. That black sumbitch that's supposed to have had urinal relations with that underage colored gal.
Didn't Jerry Lee Lewis marry a 14-year-old baby?
You can't compare a chocolate monkey like R. Kelly to Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis is the king of rock and roll. Great balls of fire. Besides, that situation was different. That was family.
We're here at the R. Kelly trial, where there are a handful of angry protesters making their voices heard. These are scholars, activists, pillars of the African-American community, and they are outraged. And we're just going to head over here to the R. Kelly supporters, where it's quite the festive event. And you are...
Hey!
Now, why did you come out here to support R. Kelly?
'Cause he good.
And what about those protesters over there who say he's crossed the line?
Man, fuck them literal-ass uppity niggas. All they talk about is reading and eating right. Nobody want to hear all that shit. If I want to get high blood pressure, then nigga, get the carrot away from me. If I want to get high blood pressure, then damn it, that's my business.
Let's talk to another R. Kelly supporter. You there, urban youth. Why do you think R. Kelly is innocent?
If I started peeing on you right now, would you A, smile and ask for more, or B, move the hell out the way? But before you answer that, let me ask America, has pee ever really hurt anybody? And I want to give a big shout out to my homie, Diva! What's up? Okay, that's enough. Oof. Get off me! Get off me, Huey! Free R. Kelly!
Hey, yo! Look, the R. Kelly haters are pressing that little boy.
Free R. Kelly! Free
Get out of here! We know we talking. Get
You want to piece of me? Come on, baby!
I knew it would be just a matter of time before violence broke out. It's pandemonium here at the R. Kelly trial. Oh, the humanity! Mr. Kelly, do you have a statement?
This is truly an example of black people sticking together. In the words of Sister Soldier, an injustice anywhere is an injustice. Anywhere. Amen.
What did O.J. Simpson say to Kobe after his case was over?
What's that?
Don't let this whole trial thing turn you off to white women.
That's funny on so many levels. Lord, I just wish they would have let me on that jury, boy. Thank God for the white man's code of law. It's the only way to keep these crazy niggas under control. Well, that and pepper spray. You know, I sat on the jury one time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was in 1957, back in Tennessee. Now, the defendant was accused of shooting 3 little white women with a Winchester rifle from about 50 yards away. See, now, he thought he was gonna get off with that old I'm blind excuse. But, oh, boy, he had another thing coming.
The jury will now go off and deliberate on...
Guilty! That nigga is guilty!
Sir, settle down. You have to go deliberate.
I don't need to deliberate. Hang that nigga now. I got the rope right here. King mean.
Lady Liberty is on our side. Justice will prevail. The judge and jury will do the right thing. I'm telling you, Huey, it's an open and shut case.
Mr. Dubois, are you fully aware of the extent to which niggas love R. Kelly?
Oh, Huey, it's under control. Watch me work. And so, ladies and gentlemen, not only will we prove it is Mr. Kelly in the video, we will prove that the victim was 14 at the time the video was shot.
Thank you, Mr. Dubois, and now we'll have the opening statement for the defense.
The ancient Greeks, the architects of Western civilization, would regularly indulge in sexual activities with children. Were they perverts? In Puritan America, the forefathers of this great land would take wives who were 12 or 13 years old, much younger than the alleged victim. Were they sickos? In Tokyo, you could buy teenage girls' panties in vending machines. Do we call them disgusting? Of course not. What do all those things have to do with Robert Kelly? Nothing. Let's get to the point. Now, some people see this so-called mountain of evidence, these videotapes, photographs, eyewitnesses, and DNA, and see a guilty man. But some of us can see that mountain of so-called evidence for what it really is. Racism.
Oh, he said it right there.
Which one was the one that got caught with that homely little white gal?
Kobe.
Right, now I know exactly what happened to Kobe. Kobe caught that white fever. White fever get in your blood, man, it'll make you crazy. And you know they got them short little skates nowadays and that, what they call them, the tongues?
Thongs.
Yeah, right, they got the thongs all up the booty crack and they got that sweet white nectar. Oh, Lord have mercy. And after that it's over. You wake up and you don't even know what you done. Just a pool of sweat around your ankles and a deep sense of satisfaction. Give me a minute, Robert.
You look like you need to take 5.
Yeah, sure. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present to you the R. Kelly tape. I warn you, it is graphic.
Yeah!
Oh my. Oh, no, he did.
Objection, we can't even see his face clearly.
Oh, man, he got freckles and everything.
That proves nothing.
Hello. Yes, this is Robert Kelly. Yes, the singer. You want my social security number? Sure. It's 916-34-7865. Okay. God bless.
Well,
Now, young lady, I know this might be hard to talk about.
No, it's cool.
How old were you when you were seeing Mr. Kelly?
14 and a quarter.
Wow. That's a great age, isn't it? Still learning so much about the world.
Whatever, I guess.
Could you describe the events leading up to the shooting of the video?
Yeah, he asked if he could pee on me, and I said for sure. I mean, it's R. Kelly, the Pied Piper of R&B. I've been peed on by guys that don't even have record deals. Shit, if I didn't want to get peed on, I'd just move out the way. Ha, I told you.
Order! Would you describe yourself as an African-American woman?
Nigga, you blind?
No, I'm not. So it's safe to say that R. Kelly is sexually attracted to black women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Objection, relevance!
Your Honor, I'm trying to establish to the court that my client is a proud black man who loves his black sisters, unlike District Attorney Dubois, who's married to a white woman.
Elsewhere, Granddad and Uncle Ruckus play checkers in the park. Ruckus, always a grotesque caricature of self-hatred, launches into a bizarre tirade about the Kobe Bryant case, declaring that white women are irresistible and sweating through a deranged memory of his time in court. It's a chilling parody of the racial paranoia and internalized racism that often goes unspoken, made explicit through Ruckus's unfiltered monologue. Back in court, the prosecution lays out its case with cold clarity. The videotape, the victim's testimony, DNA evidence, a mountain of proof, but none of it seems to matter. Kelly's lawyer, voiced with smarmy confidence by Adam West, turns the trial into a performance. His strategy is not to refute the evidence, but to dismiss it as racism. He declares that Kelly is a proud black man who loves his black sisters, then twists the knife by pointing at Tom, who is married to a white woman. The courtroom erupts with cheers and applause. No one wants to hear the logic, they only feel the punchline. The trial is no longer about truth, it's about loyalty, identity, and deflection. Even Tom knows he's lost. With the crowd turning against him, he reluctantly rests his case. What happens next is pure satire, but it's terrifying in its accuracy. Kelly's defense turns on a boombox. He climbs onto the table and starts singing. The courtroom judge, jury, audience transforms into a dance floor. They cheer, they sway, they sing along. Even Riley joins in booing Huey when he tries to shut it down. The message is devastatingly clear. In the face of spectacle, truth is powerless. Huey makes one last plea, a monologue not just to the courtroom, but to the audience watching at home. What the hell is wrong with you people? Every famous black man gets arrested, it's conspiracy. Every time one of us does something wrong, it's always somebody else's fault. Like R. Kelly's victim did something to deserve what he did to her. But it's too late. The jury returns. The verdict is in not guilty. The courtroom explodes, and not in shock, but in celebration. The judge dances, the crowd chants. The truth dies beneath the bass line. Even Tom's wife pats his back, mocking him. That's what you get for messing with white women. The episode closes with Huey in the back seat, his voiceover quiet, seething. He doesn't blame the media, he doesn't blame the lawyers, he blames white people, not literally, but satirically. A jab at how the system is always distorted, no matter who's on trial. In just 22 minutes, the Boondocks delivered something rare, not just a parody, but a painful mirror, asking how deep our denial goes when the person in question wears our skin, sings our songs, and gives us something to dance to. Beneath the laughter and exaggeration, the trial of R. Kelly is not just satire, it's a lament. The episode unflinchingly lays bare how group loyalty, celebrity worship, and cultural trauma can warp the pursuit of justice. Riley, young and impressionable, joins the chorus defending R. Kelly not because he understands the case, but because the music is familiar, comforting, empowering. To Riley and the barbecue crowd outside the courthouse, Kelly isn't a predator. He's a symbol, a black success story, a soundtrack to their lives. But that's exactly the danger the episode confronts. As the courtroom descends into a dance party, as logic buckles under the weight of stardom, Huey Freeman emerges as the lone voice of clarity. His final outburst is not just angry, it's desperate. What the hell is wrong with you people? Every famous nigga that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela. Yes, the nigga can sing. But what happened to personal responsibility? The slur is censored on air, but the sting of the truth remains. Huey's voice cracks not with fear but with grief. The grief of seeing a community choose denial over dignity. The grief of watching justice smothered under a catchy hook and a celebrity defense. Huey doesn't say this because he's anti-black. He says it because he loves his people enough to want better for them. What the Boondocks dares to dramatize is the conflict within a community under siege. The longing for heroes, the pain of betrayal, and the deep-seated fear that acknowledging harm will invite outside attack. But Huey insists the cost of silence is higher. As commentator Gozi Okoro observes, the real question here is timeless. Can you separate the art from the artist? And more importantly, should you? The art of a depraved artist, Okoro writes, is not more important than the safety and justice of that artist's victims. Huey's stance reflects this moral clarity. He doesn't call for boycotts or burnings. He offers something far harder, accountability. If you're really concerned about R. Kelly, he says in one version of the speech, then help him, get him counseling, but don't pretend the man is a hero. That's the pivot point, the emotional heart of the episode, and it forces a reckoning many fans were unwilling to face. In the years after this episode aired, new revelations emerged, documentaries, court testimony, survivor accounts, and suddenly social media was calling Aaron McGruder a prophet. Critics like Mackenzie Clark pointed out how blind worship of black male celebrities Kelly, Cosby, others leads to the vilification of their victims, who are most often black women and girls. She writes, "We worship these men as deities who can never do us wrong, and in doing so, we silence the people they harm." That's what Huey stands against, not black pride, but the reflexive denial that turns pride into a prison. And yet, the episode's final moments are not triumphant, they're sorrowful. As Huey rides home in the car, quiet, spent, he reflects, "I admit that I'm often vexed at the behavior of my own people, but they're our people, and we got to love them regardless." This line is a confession. Huey's frustration is not rooted in superiority. It's rooted in love, a painful, honest, transformative love that refuses to give up on its own. That's what makes the Boondocks so rare. It never punches down, it punches inward. It asks its audience to do what so many shows avoid, look in the mirror, and then decide not just what we'll laugh at, but what we'll stand for.
I've listened to your black ass talk all day about how much you can't stand black folks.
Ain't two of them in the history of the world that's worth a squirrel for it.
Oh, how much you love white folks?
Best thing the good Lord ever did for the planet Earth.
Ruckus, you black as ace of spades, man.
I don't see the need for you to go and insult the man after a game of checkers. We've been reminiscing all day, looking in each other's eyes, acting like we like each other. Now you gotta go ahead and remind me of my ailment.
Ailment?
That's right. You heard of vitiligo? Shoot, well, I got re-vitiligo. Every year my skin just seemed to get blacker and darker and blacker and then more darker. It's the opposite of what Michael Jackson got. Lucky bastard.
Ruckus, how could you possibly love white people so much?
It's easy. Have you ever looked at them? White man just a joy to be around. They smell like lemon juice and pledge furniture cleaner. And look at them. They gave us discipline, jobs, put structure in our lives, took us out the jungle. And what we do to show our appreciation? We march up and down the street. We vote. Carry on. Ingrates.
Well, how about this? Game.
Nigga.
I'm going to show you something they don't want you to see. Something that will blow this case wide open. This is R. Kelly's NAACP Image Award Certificate of Nomination.
Hey, man, you got his card? He's good. Did you wash your hands?
You think they nominate just anyone for this award?
I got one.
You know why he wants to put R. Kelly in jail? Why? Because he's afraid of R. Kelly.
Objection. Would you be quiet?
I think he's afraid. I think the whole system is afraid of R. Kelly.
Your Honor, please! If you don't shut up!
They're afraid because they see the power for good that this man wields through his music. Yes, they do. They don't want R. Kelly to be free because they don't want you to be free. They don't want me to be free. Maybe R. Kelly did urinate on this woman, but America urinated on R. Kelly. And if you let them put this man in jail, America will urinate on each and every one of you. Salaam alaikum.
Walaikum salam, brother.
Please, people! You saw the tape. The girl testified she was underage. You're not allowed to do that to a little girl. We have a videotape.
Go tell that to your white bitch. Mm-hmm.
But the girl was... prosecution rests.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, all that needs to be said is this.
What the hell is wrong with you people? Every famous nigga that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela. Yes, the government conspires to put a lot of innocent black men in jail on fallacious charges. But R. Kelly is not one of those men. We all know the nigga can sing. But what happened to standards? What happened to bare minimums? You a fan of R. Kelly? You want to help R. Kelly? Then get some counseling for R. Kelly. Introduce him to some older women. Hide his camcorder. But don't pretend like the man is a hero. And stop the damn dancing. Act like you got some goddamn sense, people. Damn. Don't playing around here. Boo! Hey, you with the afro. Give it a rest. Beat it. Put the music back on. You're stressing me. I did battle with ignorance today, and ignorance won. I admit that I'm often vexed at the behavior of my own people. Yeah, vexed is a good word.
I told you about messing with them white women.
You do what you can to help black folks, and they make you wonder why you even bother. But they're our people, and we gotta love them regardless. One thing for sure, though, can't blame this one on the white man. What am I saying? Of course I can.
When the trial of R. Kelly first aired in 2005, it was provocative, but it didn't spark a firestorm. Not yet. The episode slipped into the Adult Swim lineup with barely a ripple in the mainstream. For fans of the Boondocks, it was another bold entry in a series already known for testing the limits of satire. But for many viewers, the satire struck too close to home, and so it sat there quietly, a time capsule of uncomfortable truth. Years passed. The episode became a fan favorite, often cited as one of the most remembered stories in the show's entire run. Viewers admired its audacity, its fearlessness, even if they weren't ready to sit with what it said. Not fully, but then the world changed. In 2017, the Me Too movement surged. Stories of abuse and complicity surfaced across every industry: film, politics, sports, and music. In 2019, Surviving R. Kelly premiered, and suddenly the veil lifted. What had once been satire felt eerily like prophecy. Social media lit up with rediscovered clips from the episode. Viewers who had once laughed now gasped. Posts went viral. Aaron Magruder was a prophet. Others demanded a revival. Give Magruder whatever he needs to bring back the Boondocks. Some simply shook their heads, stunned that a cartoon from 2005 had mapped the fault lines we were still trying to navigate in 2019. Even Magruder himself, famously critical of the industry and reluctant to revisit old work, was taken aback by the renewed attention. In an interview, he said simply, "That's crazy," reflecting on how a 14-year-old animated episode had returned to the center of public discourse. What shocked viewers most wasn't that the episode had tackled R. Kelly, it was how precisely it had anticipated the social reaction. The dancing courtroom, the moral gymnastics, the cries of racism as a shield for wrongdoing, the defense of genius over justice. Every beat, once comedic exaggeration, now felt like documentation. One writer observed, "The Boondocks should return if only for a follow-up episode alone, because the truths Huey screamed from the courtroom floor had not aged. If anything, they had fermented." But this legacy isn't just about Magruder predicting a headline. It's about what the episode exposed in us, the uncomfortable patterns that persist when a beloved figure is accused. Though the show spotlights a divided black community, its questions stretch far beyond race. What happens when fandom becomes idolatry? When loyalty clouds justice? When talent becomes immunity? The comedy, the ribs, the signs, the Hummer limo provides cover for the episode's real payload. A courtroom breaking into dance isn't just absurd, it's a metaphor. The system has been turned into a party, and evidence can't compete with rhythm. That's why the episode still stings. As one critic wrote, "The Boondocks dismantled the hypocrisies of the justice system by showing how even damning evidence can be outshouted by celebrity, tribalism, and denial." The episode's enduring power is that it made us laugh but made us squirm while doing it. And maybe that's the most radical thing about it, because satire isn't just comedy. In the hands of someone like Aaron Magruder, it's a mirror, a jagged one. It reflects who we are, especially when we don't like what we see. More than 15 years later, the trial of R. Kelly endures not just as a scathing satire, but as a sharp-edged fable, a story meant to trouble the waters of comfort. Beneath the slapstick, barbecue smoke, and biting one-liners, the episode carries the still, steady voice of Huey Freeman, not just a child, but a moral compass. His voice is calm, deliberate, almost like a whispered plea. He guides us through the laughter to unsettling questions that remain with us long after the credits roll. What do we owe to truth and justice when our heroes are tarnished? How do we stand by the victims, especially when the crowd tells us not to look their way? The tone of the episode, like a David Attenborough nature film, is often dry and observational, but the message pulses beneath it, urgent, unrelenting, because this is not a distant story. It is a story about us, about the cost of denial, about how easily love can become blind. I'm often vexed at the behavior of my own people, Huey confesses, but they're our people, and we've got to love them regardless. That line isn't just a punchline, it's the heartbeat of the episode, because holding our communities and our icons to higher standards isn't betrayal, it's love in its truest form. Love that wants better, love that refuses to look away. The Boondocks asks us to look beyond the beat of the music, beyond the glint of the spotlight. What good is a beautiful song if it drowns out a scream for help? Huey reminds us, yes, we all know the man can sing. That's never been in question. But if that melody silences pain, if it blinds us to harm, then it comes at too steep a price. This episode, in all its absurdity and brilliance, doesn't demand we cancel our culture. It asks something harder and more enduring. It asks us to find balance, to take pride in our art, our people, our resilience, and to root that pride in truth, in accountability, in care. Because the true test of love, whether for a community or a culture, isn't how loudly we defend it when it's wronged, but how bravely we challenge it when it goes wrong. And that is the quiet, emotional legacy of the trial of R. Kelly. Not just a cartoon, not just a warning, but a mirror held up with affection and urgency, asking us who we cheer for and who we leave behind.